Shanti. Very good evening. Today we all gathered together for a wonderful session on preparing for the future. We Brahma Kumaris from IT Inc. welcome all of you to our program. Before moving ahead, first of all, those who are new to Brahma Kumaris, we would like to share a brief introduction about the Brahma Kumaris and about ITV of the Brahma Kumaris. So, Brahma Kumari is officially known as Prajapita Brahma Kumaris Ishwarya Vishwavidyalaya, and it's a worldwide spiritual movement dedicated to personal transformation and world renewal. The Brahma Kumaris is an international non-governmental organization and global headquarters is based at Mount Abu, Rajasthan. One of the aim and purpose of this organization is to bring about a change of awareness, attitude, vision and action as the foundation for world benefiting change. Now we have total 20 wings under RERF, that is Raj Yoga Education and Research Foundation, to serve different sectors of the society. Among them, IT wing is the one. So IT wing is committed to empower IT professionals to achieve balance through the application of Raj Yoga meditation principles in their personal and professional lives. Our programs have been successful in building a culture of peace and harmony, powered by spirituality among the members and delegates from the industry. Over a period of time, we have experimented with Raj Yoga meditation and used the spiritual tools to excel in their lives. So, till now, we have conducted hundreds of programs in 12 different cities across India and empowered thousands of IT professionals belonging to Infosys, TCS, Google, Microsoft, and so on, etc. So now moving on to our current topic, the theme of the today's program is to prepare ourselves for future uncertainties. As we all know that the degree of uncertainty is very high. So today we will learn about all the preparations that need to be done to prepare ourselves for future ready. So today we have Sister VK Mala with us. She has been Brahma Kumaris with over 10 years. She is also a professional finance professional and currently working as a senior finance professional. She has also conducted sessions for children on the topics such as importance of values in one's life, how to achieve your goals, and so on. So I would like to hand over this current session to VK Sister Mala. Sister Mala, Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Am I audible to everyone?
Santi, there is some technical problem with our speaker, BK Sister Mala.
Om Shanti. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, sister. So we have a Siddhiki sister Mala with us. So yeah, okay. Welcome, sister Mala.
Thank you, sister. Thank you. I am going to start the session. Hopefully, everybody can see me.
Yes,
My
sister.
apology for these errors because when we are joining the Zoom meeting, and we have seen that during COVID times as well, that when we join Zoom meeting, there's something or the other error comes just at the moment when we have to join. So my apologies for that. I'm BK Sister Mala. I have been with Brahma Kumaris for more than 10 years now, and it's been a wonderful journey with Brahma Kumaris. There's so much I've learned here. I've transformed myself as an individual here. And in this wonderful journey, there's so much, we have got that we always want to pass it on to others. And in this session, I will try and tell you how to prepare for the future, because I know that we are all looking at an uncertain future. We don't know what's going to happen to us the next moment. Forget about the next day or the next year. And that's the reason why I think this session assumes a lot more importance in terms of how we prepare ourselves for the future. Hope everybody can see my screen. So future. Um, we have seen a lot in the last 2 3 years as far as the situations are concerned. The last 2 3 years we have seen COVID, bacteria invisible in the air. Nobody ever thought in their wildest dreams that they're going to see or encounter something like COVID, something that's invisible, something that you can't catch. The doctors have no solution to it. And that's the reason why a lot of people died initially, because there were no vaccinations, there were no treatment for COVID. So, something like that, a situation that we had not even thought of in our wildest of dreams, did come in our lives. We were not prepared for it. We have seen our near and dear ones die due to COVID. I don't think there was even a single person on this planet who was not impacted by COVID. I think each and every single person was impacted by it in some way or the other. A lot of people lost their jobs due to COVID, and some people are still struggling to get a job. So much has happened due to COVID. That was a situation that was unheard of, unthought of in our lives. So what we have seen in the last 2 3 years, I think that has made us more wary of future. We are more scared of future. We just don't know what the future is going to bring our way. And even if something comes up in terms of a situation like COVID or a situation much worse than COVID, are we prepared to face it? Are we prepared to work out a solution around it? We don't know, right? As we are standing at the end of 2022 and 2023 is just about to commence, I think something that all of us do is that we look at our zodiac signs. We see, okay, what the next year is going to hold for us. based on my sun sign, based on our moon signs. We want to see what the future holds for all of us because we are really curious to know about the future. We look at the past year and we say, okay, the past year was not really that good. There were some good and bad days. Some people might say that the past year was just so bad for us that I don't want, the similar kind of situations to come in my life in the coming more years. And that's the reason why we are more conscious of finding out what's there for us in the future. And that's the reason why we talk to the astrologers. We try and check on different websites in terms of what the future is for us in terms of the next year. So that's a very limited 1 year thing. And herein we are talking about the more wider topic about the future in terms of what is going to bring our way and how we can perhaps prepare for it in a much better way. Today, we are also coming across many out of the blue situations, something that we don't know, I mean, how to react. 5 minutes back, I was talking to someone, and 5 minutes later, I get a phone call saying that that person has met with an accident. And I'm like, okay, oh, I was just speaking with this person 5 minutes back. What really happened all of a sudden? You go for a medical checkup, which is a normal, regular medical checkup, which you do once in a year. You go to the doctor, and the doctor says that you have a serious disease and perhaps you have only few months or few years to live. And we are like, okay, I was absolutely normal. What really happened all of a sudden? The point is that we are all encountering out of the blue situations in our lives, and we don't know how to react to them, how to face them, how to solve them, right? And this is the reason why this topic, preparing for the future, becomes all the more important in today's uncertain times, in today's unpredictable times. This is about a person worried about the future, a big question mark on his head. I think that's a big question mark on all our heads in terms of, what is there lying for me in the future. I've already seen so much in the past. I don't want to face the same situations in the future now. But then what do I do? The situations are not in my control. They just come my way. And then I have to be there to face them in whatever way. Either I collapse or I put in the power in myself to face the situation. But it is me who has to face the situation because it has come to me. So I'm really worried about the future. It's a big question mark on our heads today in terms of what will happen. What's going to happen in the future? Let's talk about the scenario that's going to play out in the coming months. Everybody's talking about it. I work with an organization which is a big four, and everybody's talking about the upcoming recession in the US market. That's something that we all know might perhaps come. But the big thing is, what is going to happen if the recession comes? Will it be restricted only to the US market? Is it going to spread in the other markets as well? If it does, what is going to be impact on me? How will I be impacted as a person, as an individual? Will I lose my job? And if yes, if I do lose my job, then how will I cope up? Because I have a family to whom I have to feed. My survival depends on my money that I'm earning every month. I have a loan which I've taken for which I have to pay out installments. I have a child whose education I have to fund. I have a whole lot of responsibilities on my shoulders. How am I going to take care of them if tomorrow I lose my job? Right? So these are the questions that come in our heads. One, what will happen tomorrow? And then the next thing is, what impact will it have on me? And then the third thing is, how will I cope up with it? Now let's look at the economic cycle. This is the cycle of the economy that plays out after every few months or after every few years, I would say. Let's start looking at the first thing, which is the expansion. So there's an expansionary phase of the economy. Then you reach the peak. After the peak, there's a contraction phase. After the contraction, there's a recession. After recession, there is a recovery phase. And then you are again back to the expansion phase. So when I look at this economic cycle, I know that the cycle is going to play out after every few years. And this is something which is going to happen. Okay. So when I know this, then I also know that, for example, if in the coming months I'm going to see recession hitting the US market and it might perhaps spread in the other markets as well, then I also know that this was supposed to happen. It was pending for a long time because it's a cycle. And we have already seen contraction happening in the last few years, which means after the contraction, recession is to come. So when I know that this is the economic cycle, which is inevitable, then I also know that recession is also inevitable. I will have to face recession. So when I know this, then I accept the situation. I accept it. I know that it is going to come because it's a part of the economic cycle. And therefore, I also then know that when recession comes, then it will also pass. After few months or after few years, I will also see a
Just,
recovery.
I just would like to interrupt for a second. We have a request that if we go bit by bit, so that we can grasp all your points. So if you can go a bit by bit, so that would be helpful. Yeah,
Okay,
sorry for that. Yeah, go ahead, sister. Thank you.
sure. So, what I was saying that in terms of the economic cycle, the cycle that plays out after every few years, you can see this expansion phase here. So the economy is expanding. Then we have a peak phase here wherein we say that the economy has reached a peak period wherein the GDP growth is at the highest, everybody has a job, the income people are earning really well, the businesses are flourishing in the economy. So the economy is at its peak phase. Then, after the peak, what happens is you reach a contraction phase, which means that the economy is now slowing down. It is showing the signs of slowing down in terms of GDP going down, in terms of the businesses are declining in terms of the profits as compared to what they were earning in the previous years. People's incomes are going down, and therefore, overall, the economy is seeing the impact in terms of a slowdown. That is called contraction. After the contraction, we see a recessionary phase, which means that after the economy has started slowing down, which is happening for the past few years, we reach a recession phase. Recession, which means that the economy has completely slowed down, people are losing their jobs, the businesses are in losses, which means that once the business goes into a loss, it is going to start sacking people. It is going to start laying off people. So when the people start getting laid off, and it's a vicious cycle, of course, their demand of borrowing, of buying the commodities in the market will also go down. When the demand goes down, the supply also gets impacted, which means that in this vicious cycle, recession increases further, right? So that is called recession when the economy is just not doing well. The businesses are in losses, people are losing their jobs, and therefore the economy is in such a bad condition. After recession, we have something called recovery. Once the recession phase is over, we reach a recovery stage. Recovery stage is the one wherein we start seeing the signs of recovery, wherein the businesses slowly and slowly start improving in terms of the performance. When the businesses improve, people start getting jobs again, slowly and slowly. We start seeing the growth in the GDP again. The economy starts improving. But this is just a recovery phase wherein we have started going up slowly. After the recovery phase, we again come back to the expansion phase. So, which means it's an economic cycle which is playing out. We have the recovery, then we have the expansion, then we have the peak, then we have the contraction, and then we have recession again. The reason for showing this slide is to tell us, to inform all of us, and to remind us that it's a cycle which is playing out, which means that if somebody is saying, okay, tomorrow recession is going to come in the US economy, so what's going to happen to us? Will I lose my job? If I lose my job, then how will I survive? So, all those questions which are coming in our mind, those questions come to a full stop the moment I remind myself that recession is just a part of the cycle. We have been seeing contraction in the last few years, and after contraction, recession has to come. But after recession, recovery will also come because that's also guaranteed. It's a part of the cycle. When I know this, then I start accepting the upcoming situation. I start accepting that yes, recession is to come, but now I just need to know how to prepare myself for it. And then I also know one more thing, that after the recession, recovery will also come. Now let's look at the world drama cycle. We just saw the economic cycle, right? Economic cycle also reminds us that just like there is the cycle in the economy, we also have a cycle in our day-to-day lives. Let's look at my day. We have morning, then afternoon, then evening, then night, and then again morning. So that's a cycle of a day. The cycle of a human being, child, then adolescence, then you become an adult, then the middle age, and then old, and then the person dies, and then you again become a child again. So that's the cycle of the human being, of the human soul. So just like each one of these things have their cycles, likewise, the world also has a cycle. Economic cycle is a limited cycle, the cycle of the economy. And the world cycle is an unlimited cycle, an unlimited cycle that we don't see. But once we recognize and we understand that everything goes through a cycle, then we start understanding and accepting what's coming our way. Now let's look at the world drama cycle. We know swastika, which has 4 points to it, and a lot of people get this sign in their homes when something auspicious is happening. What's the meaning of swastika? What does it denote? The swastika denotes that there's a cycle of the world drama. Let's look at this cycle now. I'm standing currently here in Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is also called the Iron Age. By Kali Yuga, we mean Kala Kalesh Ka Yuga, which means a yuga of fights, a yuga of stress, a yuga of sorrow, a yuga of pain, a yuga of grief. That's Kali Yuga. We are standing on the verge of Kali Yuga. And some people also say that it's Ghor Kali Yuga, which means it's the darkest of night. This is also called Iron Age. So now when I'm standing at the Ghor Kali Yuga, then I know that whatever is happening in my life was the reason for that. This is because we are standing in an iron age wherein we are all expected to experience grief, pain, sorrow because it's the world of sorrow. We also say that iron age is equal to an age of sorrow. So if it's an age of sorrow, then we are all expected to experience sorrow and pain in our lives. This is what is happening around us. But what is going to happen after Kali Yuga? That's the more important question because the topic of today is preparing for the future, which means we also need to know what's going to happen in the future. After Kali Yuga, we are going to experience something called a new world. We also call it Satyug. Some people also call it Golden Age. A golden age is the age of a new world. It's the age wherein everything and every human being is perfect. When I say perfect, which means everybody is 16 celestial degrees full, full of all the virtues and full of all the powers. We also call them deities. It's a world wherein everybody is full of prosperity, happiness, and peace. There's no question of sorrow in this world. It's full of happiness. We also call it an age wherein everything and everybody is pure gold, full of gold. The relationships are absolutely perfect in this world. So that is called Satyug. After Satyug, we have something called Treta Yuga. Treta Yuga is also called a silver age. So Satyug is a golden age. Treta Yuga is a silver age. When we say Treta Yuga, that means a yuga in which you're just slightly degraded in terms of your virtues and powers. So in Satyug, you are 16 celestial degrees full. In Treta Yuga, you are 14 celestial degrees full. So there is slight degradation in your virtues and powers. It is also called heaven, but the heaven is slightly degraded in Treta Yuga. But that doesn't mean that the souls now have vices. No, the souls are still full of all the virtues and powers. They are still pure and divine. And there's no sorrow in Treta Yuga. So what I'm trying to say here is that Satyug and Treta Yuga, these two are the yugs which are also called heaven. Heaven, wherein it's all about abundance of happiness, peace, and prosperity. Now let's look at Dwapar Yuga. After Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga is also called the Copper Age. Copper Age, wherein we all start getting into the body consciousness. Satyug and Treta Yuga is also called a time wherein we all are soul consciousness. And Dwapar Yuga and Kali Yuga is the time wherein we all become body consciousness. Body conscious means that we all start getting vices into us. We know that there are 5 kinds of vices that we talk about: lust, ego, greed, attachment, and anger. These are the 5 vices. So we all start getting these 5 vices in us because we all become body conscious, which means we start worshipping because we want to find out the solution. So we think that if we worship the gods and deities, they will help us, they will support us, they will help us cross the situations in our lives. So we start worshipping in Dwapar Yuga. This is also the time when we start experiencing sorrow for the first time. Satyug and Treta Yuga was the time when there was no question of sorrow, but suddenly we start experiencing sorrow as we move to the Copper Age. After Dwapar Yuga, we move to the Kali Yuga. And as we know that what is it that we are seeing in Kali Yuga? Kali Yuga is the time when we all are in the lowest state of our mind. We all are in the lowest state, which means we think we don't have the power to face the situations. We think we don't have the power to be able to cross something which is as big as a mountain that comes in our lives. When somebody gets angry with us, we also get angry, we also get upset because the soul doesn't have the power to be able to react in a different way. And that is why we call it a time of Kali Yuga, a time when everybody is in grief and sorrow and pain. So that's also a cycle, the world drama cycle. And we know that after Kali Yuga, a beautiful time of golden age or Satyug, or we also call it heaven, is to come. Right. Now let's look at the next thing, which is very, very important in terms of what we do and what we should do. Now let's talk about a situation that comes in our lives. Let's talk about the job crisis. I go to my company one fine morning and my boss calls me in the room and says, you are being sacked, you are being laid off. You don't have to come to the office from next day. A situation which is not in my control. I've been told that I have lost my job and then this is what it is. Now, but what do we do after this is very, very important. When I lose my job, I come back home and then I start creating the thoughts of what's going to happen, how am I going to survive, how will my family survive. I will face financial crisis if I don't get a job in the next 2 or 3 months. So all these questions start coming in our minds, which means I go through anxiety, I go through mental stress, I go through tension. I also can experience depression because it's all about the thoughts that we are creating in our mind. So we experience anxiety, stress, tension. This is all the mental health. The job crisis was the one situation. From that situation, we moved to a mental health crisis. And we also experienced depression, which is the utmost peak of a mental health crisis. Once the mental health gets impacted, it also has an impact on your physical health, because we know that mental health and physical health are very much connected. They are very closely related to each other. So once your mental health gets impacted, your physical health also has an impact. So once your physical health gets impacted, that means that both the mental health and both the physical health are lost. Somebody might get sick, somebody might suffer a serious disease. Now, the next situation that happens is it also starts impacting our relationships. If I am mentally ill, if I am sad, if I'm upset, then the pain that I have in me, I'm also going to pass it on to my relationships, to my near and dear ones, to the people I love. And that's not knowingly, but that's unknowingly. Because whatever you have in you is what you pass on to others as well. If you are in pain, you're going to pass on pain to people around you. If you're happy, you're going to pass on happiness around you. Because you are now in stress and anxiety and tension and pain, which means it's the pain which is in you, which is going to be passed on to the people around you as well. That means your relationships also get impacted. And once your mental health is impacted, your physical health is impacted, your relationships are get impacted, you might also suffer a financial crisis because then you might need to go to the doctors and pay for heavy medical bills. Now think about it. When you lost your job, you might not have any financial crisis because you might have done some savings and you might have been able to survive the situation for the next 6 months. But because you created a lot of stress and tension and anxiety that impacted your mental health, that impacted your physical health, that resulted in a loss in your relationships, and that impacted your financial situation as well. So which means one situation led to many other situations as well. And this is what we do in our real lives. We maximize a loss. When a situation comes, we try and think so much about it in terms of what am I going to do, what am I not going to do, what's going to happen, that results in so many situations getting created in our lives. That's exactly what we do. That's called maximizing the loss. Now let's think about the other side of it, which is what we should do. This is what we do. What we should do is, yes, the situation has come. There is a job loss. It's not in my control. This is what I know is a matter of fact. But can I still leave it to one situation? Can I try not to have its impact on the other things in my life? Can I take care of my mental health? Can I take care of my physical health? Can I take care of my relationships? So that the situation, which is only one situation, remains only one. That is something that we should do rather than what we do. So that is called minimizing the loss. If you have a situation in your life, then we just need to start taking more care of ourselves so that the situation is restricted to only one situation. It doesn't multiply into so many situations. Now let's look at what's in my control and what's not in my control. Every time we encounter a situation in our lives, every time there is a situation, we just need to ask ourselves, is it in my control or is it not in my control? And the problem here is that when a situation comes, we tend to forget to ask this question to ourselves because we are so much engrossed in this situation. We are so much engrossed in resolving what's there in our lives that we tend to forget that it's an outside situation. It is not in my control. What's not in my control is everything that's outside, that's in the world outside. Let's look at what's there outside. People, do we think people are in our control? We can see that people today are behaving in a more illogical way than they ever behaved. People are suffering from more mental health issues than they ever suffered because there's so much happening around us that we are seeing people behaving in more of an illogical way. You go on the road and your car hits somebody else's car, and that person starts reacting. That person behaves in, that person might fight with you on the road, that person might want you to take to the police. So which means that a lot of people are behaving in more of an illogical way. People are not able to handle even a smallest of situation in their lives. People not in our control. Situations not in our control. The situations that we are encountering in our lives, are they in our control? Let's look at COVID. COVID was a situation that happened in all our lives. Is that in our control? What happened in COVID? Did any of us think of going out and saying, okay, let me just fight with the disease which is in the air, which is invisible, but I'm going to fight with it? Did any of us had that kind of reaction? No. We said, okay, the situation has come, COVID is there, but what can I do now? I can only protect myself. So I started taking measures to protect myself. We were wearing the mask, we were sanitizing our hands frequently. When we went out, we were trying to maintain distance from people. So we took all the measures that were important for us to help us protect ourselves from COVID. So that was the situation. There could be a situation wherein somebody in your family is ill. In that case, what can I do? If that person is in pain, shall I also go in pain? If I also go in pain, then who is going to take care of your person, of the person in your family who is not well? So these are the kind of situations that we are facing in our lives. Everything which is outside is not in our control. People, situations, whatever we are seeing across us is completely out of our control. But what's in our control is only one thing, which is our state of mind. What we think here is what is in our control. What kind of thoughts we create is what is in our control. What usually happens when a situation comes? Let's think about a situation. Let's say that your spouse or your child comes to the home and is very very angry. Maybe something has happened in the school or college, maybe something has happened in the office, and he's very angry and he gets upset at you. He starts screaming at you. What do we do in those situations? The immediate reaction is that I may also start shouting at the other person. I may say that, is this the way to talk to me? Do you think you should talk to me in this way? You have insulted me. What is my fault? Something happened in the office, but why are you coming back to the home and shouting at me? This is the automated response or reaction that we usually have when somebody comes in the home and starts shouting at us. This is like an automated email. If you remember, in the offices what we have is, we usually get, a lot of times you get the automated emails. So when you send an email to someone, you get a reply within a second, which is an automated response which says, dear sender, I'm on leave and I'm going to be back to the office after this date. That's an automated response, a response which is not thought of, which just comes within a second. And this is the response that we give. We also quickly react when somebody talks to us in a wrong way, when somebody shouts at us. Okay. And another one is a response which is a thought out response. Now, what's a thought out response? When an email comes, you read it properly, you carefully think about it, you give some minutes to it, and then you draft a response. That's a thought out response, for which you might take certain minutes, you might take an hour as well, and you send an email across to the other person. So there's a difference between automated and the email that you send after you have read through it and you have drafted a proper response. Now, look at it in comparison to the situations that we have in our lives. When somebody shouts at us and we also scream back at them, that's the automated response. But can I think in another way? Can I think through it for a couple of minutes that maybe my child or my spouse has been through something in the school or college or in the office? Maybe my child had a bad day today. Maybe somebody, he had a fight with someone. Maybe his teacher scolded him, and for my spouse, maybe the project didn't go well and that's why he's really angry. Can I accept him the way he is? Can I sympathize with him? Can I think that, okay, maybe he is not okay today, he's in pain today, but can I remain calm? What we usually do in such situations is a lot of people don't speak, they don't say anything, but they create a lot of thoughts in their minds. They are not speaking anything verbally, but inside they're already creating a lot of thoughts of pain. This is the energy that we want to pass on to the other person. Even if you don't say anything, what you think is the energy that goes to the other person. And that's very, very important. The most important thing is that even if you don't speak, you also have to make sure that the thoughts you create are the right ones. They are the thoughts of calmness, they are the thoughts of composure. When you remain calm and composed, that is going to be passed on to the other person as well. And he or she will also quickly come back to his original nature of calmness and composure. Because we all are originally calm souls. We are all originally composed souls. But for us to get that sign, the other person has to remain calm. Because that is the energy that you're going to pass on to the other person. Now let's think about a play. If there's a play in which, let's say, many actors are enacting, one person forgets his lines, he doesn't know what he has to say. What should be the duty or the responsibility of the other actor who is enacting with him? Should he also forget his lines, thinking that the other person has forgotten his lines? Or should he focus more on his lines so that the other person takes the cue and he also remembers his lines? What we do is we also forget our lines when the other person forgets his lines. So if one person is behaving illogically, very soon we also start behaving illogically and the whole play goes haywire. But if the person tries to focus on his lines, then the other person who has forgotten his lines will also soon take a cue. He will also remember his lines, and the play will not get disturbed or haywire. So that's exactly what we need to do in our lives as well. We know and we always need to remember that the situations are not in our control. What's in our control is the response that we create to that situation. Now, a lot of people ask this question. This is what we are used to. This is the habit that we have for the past so many births, that if the person is getting angry at us, we also have to get angry. How can I not get upset? We need to remember that different people respond to the same situation in different ways. I may get angry, but the other person may behave in a different way. It means that I am the creator of my thoughts. If different people are going to respond in different ways, which means it is me who is creating the thoughts, and therefore it is my choice in terms of how I behave. Response is the one which you clearly think through, and reaction is the one, it's just like an automated email when you don't think at all. It just comes out based on how the other person is behaving or reacting. So, yes, what's in my control is everything inside, my state of mind, and my response to every situation. And what's not in my control is everything outside. The people, the situations, whatever you are seeing outside is not in my control. Now, let's look at some of the thoughts, some of the points on how to prepare for the future, because that's the most important question that's there in all our minds. We don't need to do many heavy preparations in terms of anything that we have to do outside. It's all about the internal workings that we have to do. And the first and foremost thing that we have to do is to start practicing affirmations. Every day we need to make it a habit to start practicing affirmations. Our mind is so used to creating an automated response that for the past so many births, because we haven't been taking charge of our mind, it is going in a different direction. It is going in a wrong direction. And now we have to slowly bring our mind back to the right direction. We have to start creating the right thoughts every single day, because it's not about just few years, it's about few births. Since our mind is behaving in a wrong way, it's going in the wrong direction. It's like a child. If a child is spoiled, then it takes you time to bring the child back to the right path. So think of your mind as a child. It's a child which is not behaving in the right way, and you have to bring your child slowly with a lot of love back to the right path. And how you can do this? You can only do this by starting to practice affirmations. Now, when you get up in the morning, what is the first thing we do? We usually try and read the newspapers. A lot of people watch the TV in terms of what's going on. So the first thing that comes to you, that goes in your mind, is what's going on in the world around you. You see the newspapers, you absorb the news from the newspapers. You watch out the TV, you absorb the news from there. Or a lot of people, they start waking up their kids to go to school. So there's a lot of hush and rush in the morning. And that's what you carry with you throughout the day as well. So it's very, very important how you start your day with. So every time you get up in the morning, even before you go out of your bed, the first thing we have to start to try to do is to create affirmations. And that's something we'll need to start doing. Because when you get up, your mind is in a subconscious state. So whatever you feed in your mind in a subconscious state, that's going to go deep in it. And that's going to stay with you throughout the day. Now, a lot of people say that even if I practice positive affirmations, I don't feel anything. This is something that doesn't create any impact in my life. For the initial few days, you just have to try and practice affirmations. You don't have to expect anything in terms of any change that's going to happen in your lives. So, for example, to take the small affirmations, let's say, I am a peaceful soul. I am a powerful soul. I am a happy soul. I am a victorious soul. These are the thoughts that you just have to create every single day. You don't have to expect the miracles to happen. The only thing you have to do is to just create these thoughts every day. Just keep doing it every day for the few days. Your mind will slowly start adapting it, slowly start accepting it, and you will start seeing difference in your life. It's like any habit, right? Your mind is habituated to behaving in an automated way. Now you have to bring it back to behaving in the right way. So now when you practice it every single day and you do it every day with discipline, with religion, you will start seeing difference in a couple of days. Now, when the same situation will come in your life, you're going on the road and somebody hits your car, perhaps in the past, with the same situation, you would have reacted. But now, if you're creating these positive thoughts every single day, when the same situation happens, you might behave in a different way. Your mind will suddenly create the thought, I am a peaceful soul, because it's already fed in your mind. So, whatever you feed in your mind is going to stay with you. And then your behavior, your response to the situations will start changing. But that's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's something which we always need to remember and keep reminding ourselves, because our mind is behaving in a certain different way for the past so many births. It's very important that we practice this every single day and we don't give up on it. A lot of people give up on it. They say, okay, we are practicing it for the past few months, but then the same situation came and I reacted in the same way. Don't give up at all. You might still react in the same way, but you need to remind yourself that I'm on a journey. And in this journey, of course, I'm going to fall, I'm going to get up again. I'm again going to fall, I'm again going to get up again. But one day will come when I am going to become victorious over my own sanskars, my own habits. So it's just a matter of practicing it. Very, very important. We have to try to start inculcating this practice of affirmations in our lives. And trust me, it's going to create miracles in the coming months, in just a couple of months. Now, very important thing that we have always heard is that if God closes one door, he opens a window for you. So that's something that we have been hearing for a long time. A lot of people say this to us, that if, let's say, you have lost a job, then he's going to get another opportunity for you. But how can you find out the opportunity in your life? How can you find out a solution to the problem in your life if your mind is in pain, if your mind is in a lot of turbulence? For you to be able to see that window which God has opened for you, your mind has to be completely calm. It's only a calm mind which can find out the solutions in life. A turbulent mind can never find the solutions. So if there's a turbulence in the outside environment and you create turbulent thoughts inside you, which means you're passing on the energy and vibrations of turbulence in the atmosphere. And that is just going to increase the turbulence in the atmosphere. Our job at that time is to be calm, is to create calm thoughts, positive thoughts, pure thoughts, thoughts of peace, so that the same energy and vibrations go in the atmosphere and that creates the peace in the atmosphere. And that's the service that we can do to ourselves, that's the service we can do to the world. We always say that, okay, we need to serve the society in some way or the other. The best service you can do to yourself and to the society is by creating the right thoughts, is by being calm when the situations come in your life. That's the best service you can do. So, yes, if you start practicing affirmations every single day, I am a peaceful soul, I am a powerful soul, and you go on continuing on this journey, on this path, in the coming few months, you're going to see difference in your response to the same situations. You're going to see miracles happen. But the most important thing is that you have to do it on daily basis. It's like a Bible. It's like the religious books that we read and we say, okay, we have to do something in exactly the same way as been told to us in a religious book. It's exactly like that. You have to follow it with complete discipline. Now the next one is watch out for signs. Every time a storm is going to come, it always gives some indications or signs. A storm doesn't come just straight away. You're always going to find some signs of a storm coming. So, for example, let's look at the outside storm. When the storm comes in the ocean, we see that the waves have started moving in a different pattern. We see that the wind is blowing in a different way, in a different pattern. The speed of the wind increases, and that's how the forecast departments are able to find out the signs of a storm coming in the ocean, and then they start warning people to leave their houses, to maintain distance from the place if they are living close to the ocean, so that they can protect themselves. Now take this example in your life as well. When a storm is going to come, it's not going to come immediately. It's going to pass on some signs of coming, and we should be able to catch those signs. But only a peaceful mind can catch the signs. A turbulent mind, a mind which is going haywire, a mind which is thinking so much about everything around it, which is not in its control, is not a peaceful mind. It's a turbulent mind. And a turbulent mind can never see the signs of a storm coming. And that is why it becomes very important to practice affirmations. The more you start calming down your mind, the more you start taking charge of your mind, the more you start controlling your mind, you will be able to see the signs of the storms coming. So, for example, if let's say the recession is coming in US, we've already started seeing the signs of it. That okay, this is going to come. Now I need to prepare myself in whatever way I can possibly do. One is to prepare yourself mentally, and the other way is to prepare yourself in the form of outside. So for example, if I know that if the recession will come, there might be financial crisis, how can I prepare and protect myself now? I can try to start saving more. I can start doing some cost cutting so that I'm able to have more savings and I'm able to cross the phase of recession. That's called preparing yourself. Now let's look at the COVID situation as well. When COVID was about to come, it just didn't come out of all of a sudden. We had started hearing the news of COVID coming up. It arose in China. We could hear in December 2019 that COVID is going to come. It is going to hit us all, but we didn't know it's going to hit us so badly. But at least we were seeing the signs of a disease like COVID coming. So it's going to happen with every situation. No storm is going to come without the signs. You're going to get the signs of a storm coming, and our duty and our responsibility is to start preparing ourselves for it so that when it comes, we're already prepared, we have already started protecting ourselves, and we're able to cross that phase. The next one, this too shall pass. And it's very, very important. The golden line, the golden words that if we are able to remember or remind ourselves when the situation comes, it's going to help us a lot. This too shall pass. Let's read through this line once again. This too shall pass. These are like the golden rule which we always need to remember. Think about your life since childhood. Take a minute and think about the situations that you have seen in your life in the past. the the defeats you have seen, the sorrow and pain you have seen, everything that you have seen in your life in the past, has that remained there? You have been through the sorrows, you have been through the defeats, you have been through the painful times, and that all passed. Likewise, all the good times in your life also passed. Think about the moments of joy, the moments of happiness in your life, when you achieved something, when you're successful, when there was some celebration in your family. Think about those times. They also passed. So, just like the bad times passed away, good times also passed away. There's nothing that's going to stay forever. It just comes and goes. What remains with us is we ourselves. I, the being, is the one which always remains. Lest everything in this world is going to come and go. And there's a very beautiful story that I remember about this too shall pass. And I'm sure that a lot of people have already read this story somewhere. And it's a very, very beautiful story. It's about the king who once called upon all his wise men and asked them one question. He said, okay, tell me one thing which is going to always stay with me in good and bad times, in all the circumstances, in every place, in victory and defeat, in happiness and sorrow. Can you tell me about one mantra, one suggestion which is going to work for me in all these situations? When you are not with me, nobody is there to give me advice. Even then, that mantra is going to help me out. Do you have one answer to all the questions? And those people, those wise men, started thinking. They thought and thought. They were all puzzled. They didn't know what was the answer. They took many days to think about it. They all discussed amongst themselves. And one old man came up with a suggestion. And that appealed to all of them. So then what they did, they went back to the king. And they said to the king, okay, this is something that we are writing on the paper. And you have to not to open up this paper. You will not open up this paper out of curiosity. You're going to keep this paper with you always, and only in extreme danger, when you don't find any other way out, that you can open up this paper, but not before that. So that was the condition that those people put to the king, and the king agreed to it. So what the king did, he put that paper under his golden ring and he forgot about it. A couple of days later, a king from a neighboring kingdom attacked this kingdom. The army and the king, they all fought bravely, but unfortunately, they lost the battle. So the king then flee on his horse, and he just wanted to run away so that he's not killed by the enemy. He was running and running in his horse. The enemies were coming closer. Suddenly, the king found himself at the end of the road. There was a rocky valley beneath, which means if the king jumped, he would be finished. And it was such a small road that even if the king tried to return back, because the enemy was coming closer, they would have anyways killed him. So the king didn't know what to do. He was feeling restless. He thought that his life is finished and it's the end of the game for him. But then suddenly, the gold in the ring just flashed in the sunlight. He looked at his ring and he remembered the message that he had stored in the ring. So he opened it up and he read the message. And the message said, this too shall pass. The king read the message once again, this too shall pass. And a calmness came on his face. He stood there and he thought about it. Until yesterday, I was the mightiest of all kings. I was the bravest of all. I was enjoying all the luxuries in my kingdom. And today, I'm here, standing in danger. I've lost my kingdom. But just like those days passed, these days will also pass. The moment of danger will also pass. So he stood there and he looked at the surroundings around him. He saw that that place where he was standing, that was very, very beautiful. The king never knew that such a beautiful place existed in his kingdom. It was the first time that the king had seen such a beautiful place. He stood there. He was completely calm. A couple of minutes later, he realized that the enemy's horses have gone away. The noise that was coming, which was coming closer to him, has receded. The king was very brave. He went back and he fought, and he was able to get his kingdom back again. All the people in his kingdom were very, very happy. They were sort of rejoicing in the victory. The king came back and he was received with a lot of fanfare, and they all were showering flowers and the king. And for the moment, the king thought, oh, I am the bravest of all. Nobody can defeat me. The ego came in him. Suddenly, once again, the sunlight flashed on his golden ring, and that reminded him of the message once again. He opened up that paper and he read the message again. This too shall pass. And his face of being egoist was turned to utter humbleness. And he reminded himself, just like the defeat was not his, this victory today is also not his. Just like the days of defeat are gone, the days of victory will also be gone. We are just the witnesses of the change that's happening in our lives. We're only the perceivers. The good days come and go, the bad days also come and go. We are just there standing as the witnesses of what's going on. And the most important thing we always need to remember is nothing is permanent in this world. Everything comes and goes. The only thing which is permanent is the law of change. And this is something that we have heard in the past as well, that only the law of change is constant. Rest everything is going to come and go. And that's how you need to evaluate your life. For a moment, think about the moments of victory and happiness in your lives, the moments of sorrow and defeat in your lives, the moments you have seen in the past. Just like the moments of happiness went away, they passed away, they didn't stay forever. Likewise, the moments of defeat and sorrow are also going to pass. So, when we talk about preparing ourselves for the future, no matter what the future holds for us, no matter what situation we are going to face in our lives, we just need to remember that they will also pass. This too shall pass is a very, very important phrase that if we remember at the time the situation comes, it's going to make us accept it, it's going to make us powerful and empower ourselves to face it. The next one is each scene is benevolent. Now, at Brahma Kumaris, this is a very, very beautiful thing that we have learned, that everything that happened in the past was benevolent. Everything which is happening in your lives now, today, is very benevolent. And everything you're going to experience in your life in the future is going to be very, very benevolent. Now, when somebody hears about it, he or she is going to say, how is so? How can a disease like COVID, which kills so many people, how can that situation be benevolent? If somebody in my family falls sick or somebody in my near and dear ones dies, how can that situation be benevolent? If I have to suffer from a serious disease, how can that situation be benevolent? If somebody loses a job and goes through a financial crisis and mental health crisis, how could that situation be benevolent? You just need to have a faith and the conviction that each scene is benevolent, because all we can see is what's being happening on the stage. We don't know what's happening behind the curtains. So if you see this picture here, it says benevolence hidden behind the curtains of non-benevolence. We, because we have a limited view of this world and what's happening around us, we can only see what's happening in front of us, that is on the stage. What we can't see is what's happening behind the curtains. But God knows what's beneficial for us and what's not, because we don't know our past karmas. We don't know the karmas which we have done in our past births, but the God knows that. And the God knows that what is the best for you all. And therefore, we always need to remember and remind ourselves with this faith and conviction that each scene is benevolent. We might not see benevolence today, but tomorrow, sometime later in our life, we are going to look back and say, oh, thank you, God, for what you had given me that time. Had you not given me that situation then, I wouldn't be the kind of person I am today. So we just need to remember today, even if nothing is in my control, even if nothing is going in my way, even if I can see everything falling apart in my life, I just need to remember and remind myself that each scene is benevolent. And I'm going to see benevolence, if not today, if not tomorrow, sometime in future when I look back. So that's the faith and conviction we need to have, even if we think that nothing is going in my way. And there's a very beautiful story which comes here. Again, that story a lot of you might have heard, and that's about Akbar and Birbal. Akbar was a very, very renowned king in India, and Birbal was his advisor, a very trusted advisor. Now, Birbal always used to remain very happy. He always would say that everything that happens in our lives is for the best. But Akbar never liked him saying that. He would get angry at times. Why do you always keep saying that all that happens for the best? And Birbal said that you are going to see that. So one day what happened, Akbar was cutting apple and he hurt his finger. So when Akbar hurt his finger, all these people started sympathizing with the king. But Birbal said that all that happens for the best. And Akbar was very, very annoyed. He said, how could cutting my finger be the best for me? Are you a fool? But Birbal was very calm. He said, you can't see it now, but trust me, you are going to see this later. So Akbar was very annoyed. He asked his people to put Birbal in the prison and said that that is going to be the best for him. The next day, Akbar with all his people went to the jungle. They killed many animals and in the afternoon they stopped somewhere to take some rest. Suddenly, Akbar saw a deer. He started going behind it and he forgot that he is going away from his army, from his people whom he had come along with. So after sort of chasing the deer for a few kilometers, he lost his path. He was completely lost. And his people were trying to find him out. They were not able to find him. Unfortunately, a tribe of savages were able to find Akbar. They captured him, they caught him, and then they also decided that they are going to sacrifice him to the rain of God so that they are able to receive a good rainfall that year. So then they before they could sacrifice Akbar, they decided to give him a bath. When they were giving him a bath, they saw his injured finger and they started whispering amongst themselves and they said that it's an injured person. If we are going to sacrifice the injured person to the rain of God, the God of rain, then the God of rain is going to get angry. So the decision to sacrifice Akbar was dropped and they asked him to go. He was released. He went back to his kingdom and his people who were waiting for him in the palace, they were very happy to see him because they were very, very worried about him. Akbar thanked God and he said, thank you, God, for saving me. It's only the injured finger which was able to save me today. And he certainly remembered the words of Birbal as well. He went to the prison and he released Birbal and he apologized to him. He said, please accept my apologies. You know what happened? Today, when I went to the jungle and I was caught by a tribe of savages and they were about to kill me. But because of this injured finger, I was saved. It is only because of you, for what you said. But tell me, Birbal, I was able to be saved due to his injured finger, but I put you in the prison. You were an innocent person. How was that good for you? So Birbal said, Jampana, my emperor, if you had not put me in the prison, I would have accompanied you to the jungle for the hunt. And because I was not injured, those tribe of savages would have killed me instead of you. So thanks for putting me in the prison. Because you put me in the prison, I was also saved. My life was also saved. And that's how both Akbar was able to realize that everything that happens in your life is benevolent. You can't see that today, but tomorrow you'll be able to see back and say, yes, now I realize why what happened to me was benevolent for me. Now let's look at this picture. This is me. Each one of us need to see that this is me. I'm standing on the shores of the ocean. I'm very, very scared of going closer to the ocean because I feel that if I go closer to the ocean, the waves of ocean might perhaps take me and I'll get drowned. This is what we think. We are alone in this journey of life. We all feel that we are alone in this journey of life. It's me who has to take everything all alone. And that's the reason why we get scared. If any situation comes in our life, we are like, it's me alone who has to face it. And I don't have the courage to face it. I don't have the power to face it. A lot of people say that they have to take care of their entire family. And it's such a big responsibility on their shoulders that they literally feel burdened by it. Today, see yourself. Are we not getting a lot of responsibilities on our shoulders? Each one of us feels burdened by these responsibilities. And we think that it's me all alone who has to do everything, who has to do the job, who has to take care of the family, who has to take care of everything around me in terms of relationships, in terms of money, in terms of health of my people. And that's the reason why we feel scared at so many times in our lives. We see people that they at times collapse when a big situation comes in their life because they think they don't have the courage to face it. Because we always had thought that we are all alone in this journey of life. Now think about it. Are we actually alone in this journey of life? Is there nobody who is there to always be with us, to support us, to encourage us, to empower us, to understand us? Just think about it for a minute. Are we actually alone in this journey of life? Are we just like this child who's standing on the shores of the ocean but is very, very scared of going closer to the ocean, thinking that he might get drowned if he goes closer to it? Now let's look at the next one. And let's look the child who has been in his father's hands, but only one hand. The father is holding his child in only one hand, and the child is really happy. The child is relaxed. The child is not worried at all. In fact, the child is enjoying because he knows that he is safe in the hands of his father. The child has this complete trust and faith and conviction that he is completely safe in the hands of his father. And that is the truth of our lives, which we tend to forget. We do this entire journey of life thinking that we are all alone. We actually are not alone. We have our Father, our Supreme Teacher, our Supreme Father, our Supreme Guru, who is our Father for all our lifetime. So, in this journey of life, as we go ahead on this path, wherein we are going to face a lot of blockages, a lot of obstacles, it's the God who is always there with us to guide us, to empower us, to show us the right path. But the reason why we don't experience his existence with us is because we have forgotten that. We tend to forget that God is there with us. We have not established connection with him for the past so many births. We don't know even if the God exists. A lot of people commit crimes saying that there's no God at all. There's no one who is going to punish us. A lot of people think that even if they do the right things today in life, there's nobody who is going to give them the fruit of their good labor because God doesn't exist. People have lost faith in God because of what they are seeing around them today. But we need to always remember that whatever is happening around us is for a reason. Nothing happens for no reason at all. Everything happens for a reason. And that's something we always need to remember. If something is happening to somebody, if somebody is suffering today, that's because of something that that person might have done in the past, something that is going to be there in the future. It's always going to be benevolent for all of us. So what we need to always remember is that God is always there with us as our constant companion. And when I remember this, then I'm not going to get scared at all. I will not be worried at all. When a situation comes in my life, I just need to remind myself that my Father, God, is there with me. He's there to protect me. He's there to save me. And therefore, the moment I remind myself, I'm going to be have the courage to face the situation. And all we need to face the situation is the courage. Once you have the courage and you are able to face the situation in the most bravest way possible, you will find out coming out victorious on the other side. Now, who is my father? My father, as we discussed, is a supreme soul, a supreme being. We all know that when we leave the bodies, the soul leaves the body and it goes on the journey to take another body. But a lot of people who have forgotten this, they say that when a soul leaves the body, the existence is completely gone, the identity is completely finished. When we leave the body, it's the soul which leaves the body. It goes and takes the other body because it's the journey of the soul from one body to the other. Who is the soul? Soul is a point of light. And God, the Supreme Father, the Supreme Teacher of all of us, is also a point of light. So, just like I, the soul is a point of light, God is also a point of light, that Supreme Teacher. So when I am able to remind myself that God, the Supreme Teacher, the Supreme Father is with me, then I'm not going to be scared in this journey of life. It's God whose responsibility is to take me from one shore to the other, from one destination to the other. We think that we are all alone, but and the only thing we now need to start doing is to start connecting ourselves with our Father. A lot of people ask us that how do I know that it's my father even if I'm trying to establish connection with him? The answer is that let's say you had a friend in childhood and he was your best friend, and Tomorrow he goes to some other country and you're not able to meet him for years and years. And when you grow up, suddenly you meet him somewhere, but you're not able to recognize him. But then there's something that touches, something that you feel is familiar between both of you. There's a connection you feel between both of you because it's the connection of the soul, it's the exchange of energy. Likewise, when you try and establish your connection with God, with your Father, you're going to realize that there's a connection that you feel. There's a sort of familiarity that you will feel because it's our Father. So the only thing we need to start doing is to start to try and establish connection with the God, with the Father. And you will see that in the journey of life, it's always your Father who is with you. You will start experiencing His existence, His aura around you. God. God, we always say, is the ocean of peace, ocean of love, ocean of joy. We today are asking for peace, love, joy, happiness from outside. We are literally have become beggars and asking for it from everywhere outside. We say to people, please give me peace so that I am happy. Please give me power. Please talk to me nicely. You please me in any which way. We are always asking for people around us, and this is what we expect from them. But people will not give it to us because the people is a situation, as we saw in the other slide, that's not in our control. People are going to behave in the way they think is right. The problem is that we ask from the wrong people. If we had asked from God, who is the ocean of peace, ocean of joy, ocean of bliss, ocean of power, we would get that in abundance, in plenty. Today we think that a glass is completely empty because we want peace, happiness, power from the people around us, from outside. The only thing we need to remember is we need to ask from the right person. And the only one who can give us the abundance of peace, happiness, power, joy is only God. Nobody in this world can give us happiness, peace, and power today because everybody is completely discharged. Everybody's battery is completely discharged today. We are all in the lowest state of our mind. Nobody has the peace or happiness to give to the other person. Everybody is asking from the other person. Now, this is the time when we need to connect with the Father, with God, who is the ocean of the peace, power, bliss, happiness, and make our glass full. The glass which has become empty, the souls which have become completely discharged, the souls which are in their lowest state of mind, to bring them back to their highest state, to bring them back to the state of being powerful, being happy. You have to connect yourselves with God, our Father. Now let's meditate. It's a short meditation for a couple of minutes, and I'll request everyone to, as I speak, just follow it in terms of doing it right away, so that you could experience a bit of relaxation, a bit of peace as we do this meditation. So let's sit back. Relax your body completely. Look at your legs. Look at your arms. Look at your stomach. Look at your neck. Look at your face. Come to the center of your forehead. Just look at the center of your forehead. Look at this shining small point of light in the center of your forehead. A point of light shining in the center of my forehead. Focus your attention on this tiny point of light. This is me. This is I. I'm not this body. I'm a point of light. The one which has experienced everything in the life so far. Since childhood, Look at the journey of your life. There's a white screen in front of you in which you can see your life flashing. Since childhood, remind yourself of the moments when you were very happy, when you achieved something in life, when there was celebration in your family. Think about the moments when you were very, very happy. You were full of delight and joy. You felt that you were victorious. Now, bring the moments of defeat, sorrow, and pain in your life. The moments when you felt that nothing in your life was going according to you. The moments when you felt that your life was falling apart. The moments of grief and sorrow. The moments of failure. Try and remind yourself all those moments when you felt that your life has almost ended. Bring those moments in front of you. Bring your attention back to the center of the forehead and see yourself as the witness of all the events that have unfolded in your life so far. I am the witness. I am the perceiver. I have survived all the good and bad times in my life. I am the survivor. Good times passed away. Bad times also passed away. And I came out on the other side, unhurt. Now look forward. Look forward to the future. I don't know what's going to come in future. I don't know what situations I'm going to face in future. But all I know is that situations are not in my control. Me, I, the being, my state of mind is in my control. I take complete charge of myself. And I remind myself that I am a powerful being. I am a victorious being. I have the power to face any and every situation in my life. And I am not alone. God, my Father, is always with me as my constant companion. As I go in this journey of life from tomorrow, I will always remember that I, the point of light, the being, is a powerful being. And my companion, my God, is there always to protect me, to empower me, to encourage me, I am a victorious being. I am a peaceful being. I am a powerful being. Om Shanti.
Thank you so much, sister, for a wonderful session. So, Sister Mala has beautifully explained us about how the economic cycle and the world life cycle repeats itself, and how we should be affirmative each and every time so that we can prepare ourselves for the future. And also in the last, this time also should pass away. So thank you so much, sister. Now going ahead, we have a window open for question answer session, and we have a BK Vandana with us. So she will be heading the question and answer session. So BK Vandana, Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Om Shanti, sister. Thank you so much for this wonderful session. And now we will start our question and answer session. And if any of our participants have any questions, then I will request them to put it in the chat box so that we can answer it one by one. Now, the sister, one question is there. First question is expecting respect or love from our own family, which we have lived with since birth. Is that too much to ask? Sister, you are not audible. Unmute yourself.
So expectations in today's times are equal to hurt. This is the time when you can't say that it's your family. You have done so much for them. So they should be able to understand you. They should respect you for who you are. And they should accept you for who you are. When you see them as your family, then you're not able to understand why they are disrespecting you. But when you see them as a soul, then you can understand that they are in their journey of life. So just like you are on your journey, you're facing a lot of situations in your life, they're also facing a lot of situations in their lives. And the battery of each one of us is completely discharged today. So to expect happiness, peace, respect from a completely discharged battery from someone who is in the lowest state of mind is going to be a mistake. This is akin or equal to hurting yourself, to giving the room to somebody to hurt you. We just need to remember that the other soul, that could be my child, my spouse, my parents, that's a soul playing the role of my father, of my mother, of my sister, my brother, my spouse. That's a relation, but then that's a role that the soul is playing. And all the souls are in their own journey facing a lot of problems and situations in their lives. So just like we think that there's so much going on around us, how can I feel happy? How can I feel good about myself? That's the same that applies to them as well. So the only thing we need to do today is to just accept them the way they are. That's the best thing and the best service you can do to them. If you really love them, if you really want them in your life, you just need to remember to accept them the way they are. And just remember that there must be so much going on in their life that perhaps that's the reason why they are behaving in a different way. Perhaps that's the reason why they are not able to understand you in a better way. So don't think that they are disrespecting you. Always remember that perhaps they are in their own pain. And the best thing that you can do to them if you really love them is to respect them. If they don't give you respect, at least you give them the respect. It's a very beautiful line that we always learn in and listen in Brahma Kumaris is that if you really want to get respect from people, you have to start giving respect to people. Don't expect it, start giving it. So when you give it to people, then you are the first one to experience it. When you experience it, you already get respect. Then you don't need to ask for respect from anyone. Then you can only give and give. Om Shanti.
Sister, one more question is also there. He is asking that after having all understandings, everything still there will be the situations where we do panic and we may get angry, sad, Can you put some perspective? So how to deal with that?
So there's not no magic going to happen after the session. Of course, the situations when they come, you might again get angry, you might get panicky, but it's about the understanding. Now we have got the knowledge. Earlier we didn't have the knowledge, but the knowledge in itself will also not do everything. You need to start applying knowledge in your life slowly and slowly. And as I said earlier, no miracles are going to happen. It's you who has to work on yourself. So if tomorrow the situation comes, you again get panicky, you again get angry, that's all right. That's absolutely fine. What we really do is we start hurting ourselves, we start torturing ourselves. That because I've got the knowledge, because I know what needs to do when the situation comes, why am I still behaving in the same way? You just need to remember that you are the first one. You need to love yourself. You need to accept yourself. So when the next time situation comes and you again get panicky and angry, that's absolutely fine. You need to forgive yourself. It's a sanskar of the past births that's playing out today. It's not going to get finished or get transformed very quickly. It's going to take some time. It's a sanskar of 63 births. Imagine that's a long time period. So, again, when the next time situation comes, if you are going to behave in the same way, you just need to remember that I have to forgive myself. I've started getting knowledge, I've started experimenting with it, I'm doing my own efforts, and it's going to take time. But my sanskars will get transformed slowly and slowly. So it's just that I need to love myself. I need to give myself time on this new journey that I've started to embark upon. And always remember that, after some time, as you keep on practicing, your behavior, your response to the situations is going to change. But for now, you just need to remember that I have to forgive myself, even if I start behaving in the same way to the situations after I've got knowledge. It is something which is going to take time. Om Shanti.
Just one more question also is there. Are there any exercise to overcome overthinking?
The best exercise you can do to yourself is that the first, as I told you, you need to start practicing affirmations. And then throughout the day you just need to um, you know read out something positive, something very very inspirational quotes. At Brahma Kumaris, what we do is that early morning every single day we read some very very powerful knowledge that comes from God. We call it Murli here. I'm sure wherever you're living there must be a nearby Brahma Kumari center. So one thing you can do is that start going there. It's a very, very powerful knowledge that's given there every single day. They also do meditation for around 10 minutes every day. So then throughout the day, when you find yourself overthinking about anything that's happening in your life, you just need to take a pause and then read out something very positive, something very powerful, something very inspiring. And if you're going to the center every single day, whatever you're going to listen every day, you just need to take that out and just read that once again. So this is something you will need to practice every single day. Throughout the day, take out some time in between, set reminders for yourself that, okay, let's say 10 a.m., 12 noon, 1 p.m., 5 p.m., at night at 8 p.m., I have to stop, take a pause, look at your mind. What is it thinking? What is it going through? It's like a small child, when the child is doing something, is playing and is sort of causing havoc in the house. You just need to start watching the child. And when you start watching the child, very soon you will realize that the child has stopped doing whatever it is doing because it knows that somebody is noticing it. It's the same thing with your mind as well. So when your mind is overthinking, you just need to take a pause and start looking at it. Okay, what am I thinking? Is that a waste thought, or is that the important thought for what I have to do? And you will realize that the mind stops overthinking because it knows that there's somebody who's looking at it. For the past so many years, there was nobody to look at your mind. Now it's you who has to start watching your mind. And you can only do so once you start setting some reminders for yourself for throughout the day. And as I said, whatever we learn and hear in Brahma Kumaris every single day, you just need to keep those positive, inspiring quotes with you and try and take some out to read them every day. Om Shanti.
Again, sister, one more question is there that he is asking. Can you please explain little more on how to establish the connection with the Supreme Soul?
To establish the connection with the Supreme Soul, again, that's something that we'll need to start doing that bit by bit. So the first thing I will ask you and request you to do is to start going to a nearby Brahma Kumari center. You just need to find out where it is. Today, we have Brahma Kumari centers across the world, across all the continents. So I'm sure there must be a Brahma Kumari center near your place as well. Try and find out one, go there, and bit by bit, you need to start doing the meditation. There are people there in the center who are going to teach you how to meditate, and you just need to follow it bit by bit. Now again, to establish the connection with God, it's not that you do it one day and you will realize that's your father, and he's always with me. That's something that's going to take time. So the first thing you have to do to establish your connection with your father, with God, is to start meditating. So for that, I would request you to start going to the nearby center every day, start practicing meditation, and that's how bit by bit you will start realizing that your God, the God, your father, is with you. You will start experiencing and feeling his connection with you. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. I hope we covered up most of our questions. So now we are about to wrap up our question answer session, and thank you all for being a active participant in our session. And if any of our participants have any questions or doubt about today's session or about our organization, then please contact us through our official mail ID, that is bbsritwing@gmail.com. This is also a godly invitation to all of our participants that who are interested can also visit the nearest Brahma Kumaris center to learn the 70 Raj Yoga meditation course, which will be very much helpful to make our life more successful and joyful. So please feel free to join us. Thank you so much. Over to you, Sister Ritika. Om Shanti.
Thank you, Sister Bandana. Thank you so much. So today we have a Raji Yogini Brahma Kumari Golab Didi with us, and now she will bless us with her powerful thoughts, and we will be then concluding the session. Sister Golab Didi, Om Shanti.
ओम शांति, ओम शांति, ओम शांति। आज ये आईटी प्रोग्राम के लिए सबसे पहले परमपिता परमात्मा को मैं तहे दिल से धन्यवाद करती हूँ। उसके बाद हमारे आईटी विंग के चेयरपर्सन परम आदरणीय राजयोगिनी ब्रह्मा कुमारी डॉक्टर निर्मला दीदी जी को मैं तहे दिल से धन्यवाद करती हूँ, जिनके मार्गदर्शन में आईटी सेवाएं चल रही हैं। तो उसके बाद हमारा मधुबन के आईटी के कोऑर्डिनेटर राजयोगी ब्रह्मा कुमार यशवंत भाई जी को भी तहे दिल से धन्यवाद करती हूँ। उसके बाद हमारे भुवनेश्वर सबजन के मुख्य हमारे परम आदरणीय लीना दीदी जी को भी दिल से धन्यवाद है। तो जिनकी शुभ भावना से आईटी सेवा चल रही है। तो उसके बाद विशेष आज हमारे वक्ता ब्रह्मा कुमारी माला बहन जो इतने समय देकर सुंदर तरीके से हम सभी को आज के टॉपिक पर मेडिटेशन पर तो समझाया, इसलिए परमात्मा की तरफ से, मेरी तरफ से और सभी भाई बहन की तरफ से बार बार दिल से धन्यवाद करती हूँ। आपको बहुत बहुत थैंक्स दीदी जी। तो आज के प्रोग्राम में जिनका भी सहयोग रहा उन सभी को बहुत बहुत थैंक्स। तो आप सभी भाई बहन जो आज के इस प्रोग्राम में जुड़े, चाहे जूम के माध्यम से चाहे यूट्यूब के माध्यम से, आप सभी को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, थैंक यू। तो सभी को धन्यवाद करते हुए परमात्मा की याद में रहकर मैं अपनी वोट ऑफ थैंक्स समाप्त करती हूँ। ओम शांति, ओम शांति।
Om Shanti Golab Didi, thank you so much. Thank you so much for all the participants and the team members. So now Madhu Behan will be playing a meditation song and we will be meeting next time. So Om Shanti and thank you
Om
so much.
Shanti. Om Shanti.